Nanti di tengah-tengah acara kita akan bagikan link untuk absen ya. Jadi nanti mohon teman-teman untuk mengisi Google Form yang disediakan, yang diberikan di ruang chat kita. Nanti kita akan bikinkan sertifikat berdasarkan respon balik dari teman-teman yang mengirimkan dan mengisi data di Google Form. Kita masih menanti Prof. Ismail dan Dr. Mahmud bin Ahmad Yusan.
Oke, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ini dari mana aja nih semuanya? Hah? Ayo. Jawab di ruang chat ya. Ada Riko dari Pekanbaru, Medan, Febri.
So, Professor Ismail and Dr. Mahmud, they try to fill of the internet. So, yeah, we wait.
Salam kenal kembali Karin dari Cirebon. Waktu mahasiswa terakhir ke Cirebon. Seminar arsitektur saya tentang Rusmi. Ada, masuk. Belum. Assalamualaikum Dr. Mahmud. Jadi siang ini kita mulai saja karena Dr. Mahmud sudah ada Yusan Muhammad Yusan. Oke. Jadi terima kasih, kita mulai saja. Dr. Mahmud telah hadir. Jadi acara siang ini adalah salah satu dari sekian banyak webinar yang diselenggarakan oleh Universitas Adiwangsa Jambi. Kali ini Prodi Arsitektur Universitas Adiwangsa Jambi berkesempatan melaksanakan kegiatan webinar tersebut. Kami mendapat tamu dari Universitas Teknologi Malaysia, yaitu Profesor Ismail beserta Dr. Mahmud Muhammad Yusan yang akan menyampaikan Considering Human Behavior in Architectural Design. Terima kasih dokter telah bersedia untuk berbagi ilmu kepada kami.
Terima kasih.
Kami berada di Jambi, arsitektur yang perma di Jambi gitu. Kami masih sama oleh Dr. Mahmud. Nanti bahasa pengantar yang akan dilakukan pada saat talk and workshop with UTM ini adalah bahasa Inggris, sementara pengantar pembuka dan penutup nanti diberikan oleh saya dalam bahasa Indonesia yang sekarang sedang siapkan. Nanti berikut akan saya berikan kepada host Budi Arlius Putra yang akan membenarkan secara singkat profil dari Prof. Ismail dan Dr. Mahmud yang secara garis besar akan memandu seluruh acara kita gitu. Terima kasih kepada rekan-rekan semua yang telah sudah hadir di sini, kepada rekan-rekan yang sudah membantu dari Markom, dari LPPM, juga rekan-rekan dosen di Arsitektur Unaja. Hari sudah siang, makin lama makin sore, nanti lebih banyak saya ngomong dari Dr. Mahmud bicara. Saya serahkan kepada Dr. Budi untuk melanjutkan bicara, please.
Oke, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ya, salam sejahtera. Respected to our guest, our speaker today, Professor Ismail and Dr. Mahmud from Universitas Teknologi Malaysia. Okay, welcome to Unaja ya. Okay, Architecture Department. So I'm sorry about my English because it's a long time not speak English. So I try to. Okay, first of all, yeah, please welcome all, yeah, the participant today. So we're gonna have a talk or seminar, just webinar. Title lecture today is Considering Human Behavior in Architecture Design, presenter by Associate Professor Dr. Mahmud bin Muhammad Yusan, yeah, from Malaysia. So before we start, so I'm gonna read his biography actually. Yeah, Dr. Mahmud He's an associate professor at University Teknologi Malaysia. Yeah, he received the diploma in architecture from the same university, yeah, in 1982. Yeah, and also BA Horn from Harriet Watt University, UK, in 1986. Yeah. And he got postgraduate diploma in architecture in 1987. Yeah, concentrate technology, construction, and management from 1991, and he got his PhD from University Teknologi Malaysia in 2007. So he joined the University of Technology Malaysia as a academic staff in 1983, and beside teaching, yeah, he has been interested to undertake administrative posts as the head of Department of Architecture, head of Department of External Program, and currently as postgraduate coordinator of Faculty of Built Environment and Surveying. So I think he got a lot of experience about about research and development, I think. So I think today the floor is yours, Mahmud. Yeah, please.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Dr. Budi Aryus Putra. And yang tadi tu siapa ya? Yang sebelum ni dekannya, Pak Sony Pratomo. Dekan. Terima kasih. Can you hear me, everybody? Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Can I share my slide first?
Slide.
Hang on. Let me share my slide.
Slide share.
Slide share. Okay. Can you see my slide?
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank the university for inviting me to this event. This is actually an opportunity for me to be together with international community, particularly Indonesia. And we have a lot of attachment with Indonesia, particularly my name. If you notice, my father's name is not Malaysian name, Muhammad Jusan. Jusan is actually a name of an ulama, if I'm not mistaken, in Sumatra. And my father was born in Sumatra. I think my father was born around Muara Takus, I think. So, but I'm Malaysian. But I hope I can speak in Indonesian language, but because most of the terms that we will be dealing with in English, so allow me to deliver my talk in English. So if you have any problem, feel free to interact. You can say it out while I'm talking. Don't worry, I'm okay with it. Okay, the title of my lecture today is Considering Human Behavior in Architectural Design. Actually, this is the same lecture which I delivered 2 weeks ago in, I think in one university, I think Hasanuddin University, Universitas Hasanuddin Makassar, if I'm not mistaken. So the title was different. The title was Designing for People. And actually, it is the same. This considering human behavior in architectural design and designing for people, people are the same thing. What I'm trying to share with you actually is about linking research to design. The main aim of this lecture is to share, actually to share with you what we have, what we are doing in UTM in our architectural program. That is our attempt to link research work to architectural design. I think all of you are aware that research is part and parcel of architectural practice in academic as well as in practice. Research tends to be part and parcel of the practices. However, in academic exercise, it tends to be more structured because we are teaching children, we are teaching our architects to be. So therefore, we try to make it more structured. Well, because of other reasons as well. But just to cut short, researchers in architecture commonly use methods of research from other disciplines. We are not doing it only within our discipline. Architecture, the design part is actually what we are doing. But when it comes to research, it tends to be also sharing materials or sharing knowledge from other disciplines. So there are a number of principal areas in which architectural research occurs. One is building science. This is commonly dealing with natural sciences, or known to us very commonly in terms of environmental sciences, and also sound, and also lighting, and also ventilation. So those are within building sciences. So we take information from building sciences and we apply the information in architectural design. Secondly, we also deal with humanities and art and design. So very commonly, humanities and art and design, we borrow from their discipline, the knowledge that they have gathered in their researches into architecture. I think if you notice some of the work, for example, interpretation of Masjid Demak, for example, that is using techniques which are applied in art and design and also humanities. And very commonly also, we are using social sciences like humanities and art and design, which are overlapping. Social science and art and humanities are actually overlapping, but social science are more dealing with the social part, the cultural part, in which we will see people's behavior are more connected to social sciences. And also, these are the three broad areas. Some of the areas we can see more details in it, like psychology, sociology, all falls under social sciences. And also urban design, all these are within social sciences. But sometimes those part of the knowledge also related to building sciences and also humanities and art and design. What I'll be talking today, very much focusing on social science. This is actually the area of my interest, especially in the context of housing and also user-oriented design. Okay, the lecture that I will be delivering, partly taken from this book, which is Architectural Methodology, that we published and then many of the chapters are talking about dealing with the method that we use in our studio, the research that the lecturers are using, and the knowledge normally applied in architectural design. And this is the chapter which is written by me, from which the lecture today is derived. I don't have the full paper here. If necessary, I will email, I will send a copy of this lecture notes to the organizer. So this is a chapter which I have written, considering human behavior in architectural design. This is dealing with trying to link between understanding on human behavior and architectural design itself. So there are two things. One is the research part on considering human behavior on psychology. And the other one is architectural design. This lecture will focus more on human behavior, on studies or research on human behavior. And I try at the end of the lecture, if it is, if the time is on our side, inshallah, I'll be sharing with you some of the students' work, which are trying to link between the studies on human behavior in architecture. Okay, now I begin what I want to present to you, the content of what I mean by considering human behavior in architectural design. I think it is understood that built environments are designed to fulfill human needs. So all what we have done, what we are doing, what people have done are to fulfill human needs. Therefore, understanding human behavior in the design of any environmental setting is essential. So I am propagating this because although everybody said, I understand we have to fulfill human needs in our design, but many a time this doesn't go well. Before that, just look at the role of designers. I think all of us are designers, many of us at least. I think especially those in the field of architecture, we have a role as a designer. And designers should be cognitive experts. So we are knowledgeable experts. We learn in the school and read books, and we have the knowledge. We are an expert in architecture somehow, as well as humanistic facilitator. This is actually the role that we have to play. We are a cognitive expert, but at the same time, we are also humanistic facilitator. We are facilitating people in order to achieve what they want in terms of built environment. And we are who are able to integrate data on human needs and aesthetic attributes. There are two things. One is human needs, and the other one is aesthetics attribute. Actually, aesthetic attribute, as far as architecture is concerned, is only part of architecture. It is not the whole architecture. Architecture is also about fulfilling basic needs. I will be talking about that. There are four categories of needs which need to be fulfilled by a design, by an architectural product. One of them is also aesthetic attribute. So we should be able to integrate data on human needs and aesthetic attributes in order to form building that meet practical expectation of user clients. So this is what I am expressing, propagating. We design in order to meet practical expectation of user client. User client is a client, the very client who are going to use the building, not sponsor client. Sponsor client, the one who provide money for the project. But many of the projects, they don't live in it. They don't use them. They are just making money out of the architecture. The user client, the very people who will be using the architecture, they are the one that we have to make sure we fulfill their needs in order to meet their practical expectation. Unfortunately, so from what I stated earlier, we are designing for people. Unfortunately, this is often neglected. I think in many ways, we tend to see how building has neglect, or the designers neglect expectation of the end users, of the user client. Often neglected or unsystematically developed. Some or many have the intention to fulfill the needs of these people, but many a time the way the needs are fulfilled unsystematically developed, or taken lightly by designers in the field of architecture. Very common. We look at architecture, in terms of beauty. It looks nice. It looks dynamic, but we seldom question whether we have fulfilled the needs of the people. Just to share with you some examples of failures in addressing human needs. I think many of us might have come across this project, which is Fruit Ego Housing Complex in San Luis, Fruit Ego, USA, which was constructed in 1950s. And this building was praised for a new concept of design, of housing design, because it has refreshing site plans, a lot of open spaces, a lot of parks, and also not only that, at every third floor of the building, so it became a famous design, a praised design, a new bright example of public housing in the UN in that time. In 19 at that level, and they didn't achieve what they because okay, what happened actually after being used for some years, the galleries which was praised for being a good idea became high crime areas, and spaces between the building became deserted, meaning that the spaces which were supposed to be providing amenities for the dwellers, the residents, didn't work out well. People didn't use it as it was designed for. As I said, the gallery were designed supposed to be for public to gather, but it became high crime area, drug pushing, and also even prostitution took place in the gallery. Now, the architects were actually insensitive. Why the bright ideas, nice ideas were not actually fulfilling the needs of the people? Because the architects did not use the design in understanding what were needed by the people, by the potential dwellers. Actually, the residents, the client was actually consisted of the blacks and also the white, the middle income white. And they didn't realize, they didn't know it, but they didn't realize that there were problems with both parties. They were not able to live side by side. So they forgot that reality. So they forced the white to live together with the black. And the black, actually, they prefer to live somewhere else than living there. So the design was simply inappropriate. for the social structure of the people who are going to live there, meaning that the design sounds interesting, looks interesting, but the design was not designed for the people. Later, in many years, this is what happened. The building were abandoned. Eventually, in 1972, I think in less than 20 years, a large portion of the building complex was demolished. And the entire site was completely demolished in 1976. Another classic example is the igloo. I think many of us have come across this building. This is a living unit for the Eskimo, the igloo, or the Inuit people. So Inuit community in the north of the Canadian Arctic, they have unique behavior. These people, they have a unique culture, which are peculiar to this group of people. They tend to live outside more than inside. And they tend to do things congregational. They do things together in most of the things, cooking, even sleeping. So therefore, these people, they tend to sleep in the same room. They don't have bedroom culture like the international culture. I mean, mostly our culture, we have our own room. They don't have their own room. The mother, the father, the children are sleeping in the same room. And not long ago, the government of Canada attempted to provide houses for this community. But the design was based on Euro-Canadian housing concept, which is European concept, the international concept, without proper consideration on the unique cultural practice of the community. They didn't look at the community with their own culture. As I said, they sleep together, they spend most of the time outside, and they need space for, their fishing equipment. So, but they provided the international standard of housing. So the modern houses were found to be unfriendly and unmatched to their everyday life. So these people prepare food outside of their houses. So they don't prepare food in the small kitchen like what we have. In Malaysia, I think in Indonesia, we have more or less the same culture. But the international or European standard of kitchen, they don't allow this kind of food preparation to be in the small kitchen. And living rooms are used for family and social activities. They use living room for almost everything. And even family members are sleeping in the living room. So this is what is the use of the kitchen for them. Sorry, the bedroom. Because there are no proper spaces for them to keep all their utensils. Because, there are fishermen. So they have a lot of equipment to keep. And therefore, because of that, the European standard houses were designed without understanding their needs as a fisherman. So they have to use the bedroom to store their equipment. We jump into what we have here in Malaysia. This is what you see in the slide is actually the housing scheme. This is very common, which is delivered by private developers. This is terrace houses. This is one unit, so you have attached unit to each other and to form a link houses. So you can see the sizes of each is actually quite small, unless if it is purposely made big. we studied these people who dwell in the houses a number of years ago, and almost all of them actually modified their houses. And if you look at the percentage, 43% of them occupied the houses before entering into the houses for the first time, meaning that before they consume the architecture designed by the architects, they change the architecture. You can imagine there are walls demolished, there are floor demolished, roof demolished. So meaning that the money spent for that has been drained into the drain for nothing. So you can imagine one person, 43%, that is only from one studied area that we had. You can imagine this is a normal pattern throughout the country. You can imagine the number of people who are altering or renovating their houses before they entered into the house for the first time. You can see how much money actually drained into the drain for nothing. So we has actually responsible for that, okay, as a designer. So you can see the rest of the respondents or the occupiers. They renovated their houses after 1 to 4 years, 5 to 9 years, and you can see almost everybody actually, almost everybody of the units owner demolish their houses partly or entirely just to put new design taste as they like. We call it personalization. So you can imagine 43%, which is quite big. So the majority of the users, when we ask why they changed, 82% of them agreed that the renovation was due to the original design of the house being inappropriate, because we design for the developers, the sponsor who put the money, who get the profit, not for the users. So normally the houses tend to be small size spaces, inadequate number of bedroom, unsuitable layout, unable to match personal expectation. And what is the culprit to this problem? Standardized housing unit, mass-produced houses, profit-oriented development, and data on user needs are not available or not addressed. So that is actually, those are the culprit of why we do not get quality houses delivered to us, the users, the end users. So through renovation works, users are able to personalize their houses as they prefer. So this indicate participation, you know, when they are allowed to participate in the making of their houses. So you tend to see within the same space, the same amount of space, some slightly increased, they are able to personalize their houses as they prefer. The kids are happy to live in their house. You know, their house are turned into homes. You know, the house are basically the structure, the material structure. The home is more meaningful. You know, everybody has their own homes. Everybody has his or her own definition of a home. Nice architecture according to expectation of the users, representing who they are. You can see concrete curtain there. It looks like window curtain, but this is actually concrete. And you can see a reflection of who they are, their cultural background. You know, in Malaysia we have Indian, Chinese, and Malay, and this honor is belonging to the Indian communities. You can see iconic decoration reflecting the cultural background of the users. You know, the Chinese They have this altar, and you have round, you have circular opening there, and this is reflecting who they are, the cultural background. And this is a Malay owner who transform the porch, the car porch, into forecourt, into beautiful garden. This is supposed to be the place where he should park his car, but he turned that place into nice garden. He did it himself, and you can see there is a platform for him to have activities. You know, he teaches Quran to his child, and he has a space for meeting with his guests. So this is an association of the users with his cultural background, and also turning home into financial assistant. A barber in her shop, which is actually her house. And to accommodate more space, if you look at this one, this is actually, I'm just sharing with you my house. This is my own house. My house was a single-story house. I managed to get it to be a double-story house by extending another space, above the original ground floor level. So we have more space. Again, so to effectively relate the environment with the users, hence to achieve satisfaction, it is necessary to understand behavior in the environment. So what I was trying to propagate before you through my previous slides are the need for us to understand behavioral aspects of our potential client or our clients, in order to make sure the building, the environment that we provided suits them, satisfy them. So it is actually the necessity to understand human behavior, and appropriately should be understood by using a research model. Before we go into showing you some example, let me explain to you, let me share with you, when we come to architecture, we have something universal in which everybody needs that. That is user needs. When we are designing any products of architecture, we have to understand user needs. Also expressed as user requirements, user preferences, user expectation, and many other terms in whatever language. So there are 4 categories of needs that we need to fulfill in order to make the architecture appropriate to be lived in, to be used, to be consumed by the users, the potential users. One is elemental need. I think this is very much physiological need. Basic needs. As you understand, all are physiological needs that must be provided, must be designed for. Secondly, functional needs. There are 2 categories of functional needs: expressional need and also instrumental function. Instrumental expressional or latent function are very much aesthetical function. That is fun. A kitchen must work as a kitchen, need, and also psychological needs. This is a higher level of need. In Malaysia, we have what we call rumahku syurgaku, my house is my heaven. So this is very much this is higher level and also needs for social context. These four needs must be available in whatever design, especially user-centered design, houses and the kind and the like. So if we lack one of them, the architecture will be inappropriate. Two weeks ago, I had I attended a forum. I was a panel in the forum. The forum is actually about architecture as a means of da'wah in Malaysia. And I said, if the very basic da'wah could be adding to these four categories, other categories, this is just an example. For example, providing spaces according to religious compliance, Sharia compliance. That is another level of needs. That may not be, that may be only applied to Muslim communities. So if you look at the needs, there are 5, even 6 needs actually, if we were to address the needs of these people appropriately. Okay, I'm not sure how long I'll be given the time because I have a number of, quite a lot of slides. I don't expect to finish all the slides. Dr. Budi, how long am I given time? How many more minutes I have?
Yeah, I think you can continue.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Can you understand my presentation so far?
Sorry?
Can you understand my presentation so far? Is everybody okay?
Of course, yes. Yeah.
Okay, now I want to share with you research-based design or collecting behavioral data. This is actually what we practice in our School of Architecture. In 2012, 2011, Malaysian School of Architecture has been changed in terms of their program. So we adopted the European model of architectural program, that is 3+2. 3 years for the first undergraduate studies, undergraduate degree, and another 2 years postgraduate degree. So one of the intention of having 2 level, forcing our children, our architects to go into master's program is so that we can equip them with research knowledge. So due to that, UTM, our university, is actually adopted what we call research-based design. So our design, especially for the master's level is actually in Malaysia we have 2 parts, part 1 and part 2. Part 2 is the master's level. In order to become architect, you have to complete part 2. Then you can become architect after that, after you are sitting for part 3. So with part 2, the projects are supposed to be research-based design. So in UTM, we have research-based design. Currently, we have 3 broad areas, research areas. One is social science. Second one is environmental design or sustainability. And thirdly, we have also urban design. So we have 3 broad areas in which our design are based on. So we have 2 levels of the process in the design. One is the research part of the design. The other one is the design itself. Okay. So just to share with you what we have in the social science group, especially my group, which is one is we are trying to collect behavioral data systematically. Just to share with you, there are a number of techniques that we use. In research, for architecture, there are two broad areas of research. One is structured research. The other one is what we call intrinsic research. Intrinsic research is the research that is very much based on that individual project. Some architects, they like to use his own studies, which is not shared with others, with other people. He has his own technique and he doesn't share the techniques with other people. The other one is structured technique, structured research. This is the research that we are trying to use, which is using the techniques that is applied in various disciplines. So these are the structured research, and with some of the selection. For example, I think this is common to all of you. We have method of understanding human behavior. One is through interview, through questionnaire survey, through observation. And I will share with you a little bit about interview, which is using mean and change research model. If we have the time, I'll try to share with you this technique of gathering human expectation from design using mean and change model. And also inventory. Inventory, we normally use this technique in urban design, and also mapping, cognitive mapping, and photography and sketches. And we also use secondary data. For your information, I am one of the research fellow in Kalam, that is the Center of Studies of Malay Built Environment, known as Kalam here. We have collected data on many buildings, including in Indonesia, in Makassar, and also in Laos, if not mistaken. So we keep all this data in the form of documents in our library and also in our storage, in our library, our own library. This historical data is ready for us to use in our study. I'll try to share with you what we have done in our design activities. That is using one of 10 documents of traditional building that we transform into modern application. Examples of behavioral data. This is, for your information, this is from my class, Behavioral Architecture and Behavior. My class actually allowing only undergraduate students. This is third year student, and some of them are second year students. I taught them how to systematically understand people behavior. This is what we call systematic inquiries. This is using mean and change. This is just an example of class exercise, which is try to understand kitchen attribute. Attribute is characteristic or things that must be available in the kitchen. That is what attribute means. So we are trying to see what are important design characteristic or things that must be in the kitchen in Malaysian family, involving third year student. And we are using mean and change research model, which is known as laddering interview. And our respondents are Malaysian parents. I can't remember how many students I had at that time. So I asked them to ask their parents. So I actually had a representative from all over Malaysia at that time. I had one student, if not mistaken, from Indonesia. So I had respondents also from Indonesia. So just briefly, a description of mean and change research model. MEC, mean and change research model, is a theoretical and conceptual structure aimed at connecting consumer values and behavior. It is trying to connect our mental faculty and the architectural components. That is actually what we are doing. We want to see if they set windows, so what they have in their values about windows. So with this MEC, we are able to explore connection between consumer and products because that model was actually taken from marketing and psychology. So it was not from architecture, but we use that into architecture. So product design and architectural design, they are the same. So they are based on attributes that we need for the products, for architecture for that matter. So this is the examples of the results that we came out. So this one tells us, these are what Malaysian needs for a kitchen in Malaysia, in Malaysian context. So you can see the most important part of the, sorry, I can't see. Okay, the most important component that needs to be in the kitchen is the rack and cabinet, almari. You call it lemari, is you call it cabinet, rack, and also layout. Yeah, and you see stove. So you can see, interestingly, you can see table and dining areas, and from there we collected that a kitchen is also a family space, and not only for family. We have linked this result with other findings showing that in Malaysian community, even kitchen tend to be a place to entertain guests. Yeah. So it is peculiar, a peculiar function of kitchen in the context of Malaysian. So you can see this is very much instrumental function. Okay, this is all these are belonging to elemental and functional need, and we have social context and psychological needs. So you can see the 3 out of 4 aspects of the needs are here in the kitchen. Now, another example is what we had, as I said, we had one project. This is a project. This is actually my studio project. This is a code of the studio, 2018, 2019. Linking research in social science and architectural design. And this is special studies on exploring important attribute of traditional Malay houses based on behavioral and spatial patterns. So what we did is actually we selected 10 document on our measured drawing. The traditional architecture, traditional houses that we studied, and all the data, the report from those studies, I asked the student to go through and to read. And we are using document analysis and content analysis based on 10 columns measured drawing document. And for your information, this is Kalam. Kalam is Pusat Kajian Alam Benda Melayu, Center for the Study of Built Environment in Malay World. And we have actually collected more than 350 cases. I think now more than 400. And these are the list of the measured drawing document that we studied. This has been documented. You can see some of the building dated by 18 something, so quite old. But knowing many of our architecture are not in concrete, most of them are in timber, so many of the buildings are not lasting. They cannot survive. They survive 100 years after that, decay and eventually demolished. Okay, so these are, and this is the method that we use. What we did was we asked the student to look at the pictures and also to read word to word and try to categorize the words and the report into the four components that I mentioned to you, the elemental component, instrumental component, and the studies was quite intense. I think students took 4 weeks, or 4 or 5 weeks, not mistaken, to go through, and then they had to read and make a conclusion. These are some of the conclusions that they come up with. This is only part of the conclusion. If we can just read some of them, the following discussion, this is written by the student, are the synthesis from the data collection which have been mentioned above. This before there are discussion. 4 main core findings have been figured out. This is what they have found from the houses that they studied. And there are certain patterns of user needs in an environment. And there are indication of user participation. So this is what they found. They found that all users in the traditional houses, they participated in the making of their house. User participation and communal and personal spaces, and personalization and flexibility. Personalization and flexibility is very much related to participation. So one of the nature of the houses that they studied is flexible. So and also being flexible, the houses are easy, or the spaces are easy to be personalized, to be changed, to be added, and then to be extended. So that is a beauty of the architecture of the traditional architecture. And also spatial hierarchy. There are hierarchy in spaces. This is very much culturally reflected. So there are long discussion on the finding. After concluding the research, the students were asked to design. So when I said they did the study, this is actually the research part. They did the study using systematic inquiries, structured method, and then they have to come up with the data, and the data will be used in the design process. The data that I showed you using mean ancient were not extended into design process, but this is part of the studio program. So therefore, the student use the data that they collected from their studies, and they use the data into the design process. But to share with you, it is not easy, because when it comes to designing, designing, you don't have any formula how to get the data and how to use them. So at the moment, we are just using students, experts, cognitive experts, their ability, their creativity to transform the design, the data into the design. So I just want to show you one of the examples. This is one of the example of the student's work. The student is transforming, interpreting the data collected from the study, and he focused on being flexible. So he is using flexibility. That is one of the nature of the traditional houses that they studied. They used this flexibility into his design. Actually, he used it, he called it meta home, something like that. And not only that, actually, the system of flexibility allowing the residents to use the flexibility and to change the thing as according to how they like it to be changed. So this is actually a design for a modern application, a modern house, a townhouse. Sorry, not townhouse. It's a housing complex in the city of Johor Bahru. Just to show you, I hope I can show the video. The outcomes of what he understood from his studies on the traditional houses. Notice the openness of the houses. That is part of the ideas that he collected from his study. the greenery that he found from most of the houses that he studied. So he applied the greenery that he understood into the houses. So you can see each of the unit has green space. But his focus is actually on flexible design. And he has to design based on the current needs of the people. So you can see swimming pools introduced because that is the current needs. Interpretation of the openness and the building, which is in human scale. The veranda ways, which is part of the ideas of the traditional architecture. Veranda, or we call it serambi, he translated into veranda here. And you can see this is actually how he designed for extension or changing. If anyone need to change their unit, so they have internal system which allow them to change internally. The next student is trying to use the veranda, the serambi we call it. He transformed the veranda into a different meaning, which is using the veranda as public spaces. And if you look at the layout here, is very much interpretation of the traditional ideas of spaces, but to suit with the current way of living. And this is another student who is trying to use kolong. I think kolong is very common to you. Kolong is the rumah panggung. And he is trying to use the concept of rumah panggung. And for mass housing scheme, multi-story housing. So this is what he has. He made a lot of analysis. He dissecting the interpretation of kolong into current application. And this is his interpretation. Maybe I can share with you another video. This is the last one, last video. So this is interpretation of kolong in his design. You can see each unit here has kolong. So this is it. Sorry. All right, summary. What I intend to share with you, understanding human behavior is vital. It is important, essential in making architecture suitable for the end user. And there are scientific method or structured method appropriate for systematically elicit user needs, elemental needs, functional needs, psychological needs, and social needs. And the method includes questionnaire, survey, interview, observation, and secondary data. The rest of the rest are designer's routine. It is very much innovative or creative creativity of the designers themselves in making the architecture suitable. And lastly, these are the sources of my the content of my lecture. I think that's all. Thank you very much. So I hand over the session to you, Dr. Budi.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Mahmud. It's very interesting about your presentation. So before we going to some question later, so I'm gonna ask Professor Ismail to give a speech here. Okay, Professor Ismail, are you here?
Yep. Okay.
Okay, Professor Ismail, the floor is yours now.
Yeah, Assalamualaikum. Thank you everybody for coming to these sessions. This is my first time with Universitas Adiwangsa Jambi, and I hope that everybody had good listening to good lecture from Professor Mahmud Yusan, my colleague at the faculty. The reasons that this talk that we give is to share our knowledge with you all. And I've been doing this Zoom talks and workshops since June the 4th. So now this is number 16 talks from my graduation research group. All right. So Dr. Budi, can you show the notes, the excerpts speech of Lord Larry Bakau?
Wait. Okay.
Dear student, I'd like to share some of the important notes that we can learn from presidents of top university in the world. These universities are well renowned in the world, for which that many students, including from Indonesia, love to study here. So I'm going to show to you just one excerpt of a speech by President Larry Bakau, who is the current president of Harvard University. There are 8 universities of Ivy League in United States. Stanford and MIT and University of California, Berkeley are not in the Ivy League. But equally, they are very strong universities, well-known universities. Listen to the speech would give you some insights how should you behave or act while you are in universities. So I like to Dr. Budi to post one of the excerpts. It's a short excerpt. I'm going to read about 2 minutes. Dr. Budi, can you manage it?
Yep. I tried to search what you want before, but I couldn't find it.
It is in your WhatsApp.
Yeah.
One of the things that we as students in the university that we need to differentiate between facts and truth. Facts are the thing that presented by Professor Mahmud just now about Rumah Kolong, about family space, semi-private space, private spaces, about the facts that the Indians in Malaysia has a different iconic elements compared to the Chinese, relative also to the Malays. Those are facts. The truth is that everybody differentiate between the space and the home. So therefore, we see space is a house, what I can see as a truth, but home is a place, meaning that home is being molded by the behavior of the people, right? Whereas space are the dimensions, meaning that things that been drawn in the architecture drawings. But turning a house into a home, it takes time, it takes people's action to it. Who are the actions? The client. Who are the client? The users, right? So I'm still waiting for Dr. Budi to post up the material. If not, Dr. Budi, we go to a question and answer session for Dr. Mahmood.
Yep. You can go.
Yeah. So question and answer, Q&A for Dr. Mahmood.
Okay, if you have any question for Dr. Mahmood, please raise your hand.
This is in Jambi, ya, Pak?
Yep, benar sekali.
Jambi. What is the language in Jambi? While waiting for them to ask me question, I want to ask question first. Is it similar to Minangkabau?
Yeah, almost. Yeah, we call that Jambi Malay language, right?
Malay language. Is it similar to Minangkabau?
Yeah, almost close to.
Ndak baaro.
Okay. Okay, all participants, if you have a question, please, you could ask directly, I think, to the Dr. Mahmood or, maybe to Professor Ismail as well,
Pergi balik cerita lah. Alhamdulillah dia sihat ni.
I noticed
Ini, Prof,
somebody
gambar, Prof.
wanting to. Yeah, okay. Yes.
This Milky Way.
Yes. Saudara Milky Way, is it? Hello?
Right?
Yeah.
Prof. Ismail?
Yep.
Okay.
Any questions from the participants?
Or you can ask by your local language, I think. At
Yeah,
least,
you can.
bahasa.
Bahasa Indonesia, okay aja.
Bahasa
Saya
Minang pun
ngerti
boleh.
bahasa Indonesia.
Kalau cuba. Saya orang Kampar Bangkinang.
Okay.
Aslinya.
Aslinya.
Ya, bapak saya bukan saya. You can speak in Kamparian language as well if you like. But don't speak Javanese because I can't understand Javanese. Yeah.
Okay, if you, while we waiting for the question, I think I have a question for you, Dr. Mahmood.
Yeah.
Okay. My question is, I think you work in the lab, right?
Yeah.
So, which software they use to analyze?
Are you asking?
Sorry?
Are you asking about the mean and chain research model?
Yeah, because you do some research about behavior research.
Yeah.
That's close to psychological research, right? I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it reminds me about my school, my university before in Korea, because my professor also he's an expert in behavior architecture research as well. So I think you use some software as a tools to help your research, I think.
Yeah, most of the software that we use are the common software.
Yeah.
The mean and chain, there is a software for mean and chain, which is known as Mac Analyst. But we cannot use that software into architecture because that is very much product oriented, merchandise product. So because of that, we try to understand application of this Mac Analyst, but unfortunately, it is quite difficult to be applied in architecture. What we did, what we do, and what we did so far is to use the traditional method of analysis. I tell you, Dr. Budi, it is a painstaking process. You know, you have to do content analysis, you have to do categorization, you have, although we can use NVivo, but we don't use NVivo in this because it has its own research model. So we don't use, as I said, we use traditional method, which is very laborious. I hope, actually, I was hoping and still hoping, but unfortunately, I'll be retiring next year. Students are coming to develop a platform to analyze data on mean and chain. At the moment, we are still using the traditional method of analysis. The rest of the data collection, like questionnaire, we use basically the SPSS package.
Okay.
And some students are using, my students are using NVivo, and also some other techniques which I can't remember. Yeah, there are other techniques I can't remember offhand now. But related to mean and chain, as I said, we are using the traditional method manually.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's clear about it. So I think we have other question from the from Widya. Yeah. Okay. Please ask the question to the Dr. Mahmud.
Assalamualaikum. Can you hear
Waalaikumsalam.
me?
Yes, I can hear you, Vidya.
Prof. Mahmud, still remember me?
Yeah, I remember you, Vidya.
Prof.
You
Ismail
did
Said, how are you?
you did morphology. I was one of your examiner.
Yes.
Yes.
Very
So
nice
ask
to
me
see you.
simple question. Don't ask me a difficult question, Vidya. Dr. Vidya.
Okay.
Okay, what is it? What can I
I
do?
have question for you, Prof. Mahmud.
Yeah.
Your explanation is about how we design by considering the culture, by considering the behavior of the users.
Mm-hmm.
What about the case when we want to change the culture of certain community, certain type of users that, according to our, let's say, thinking, or maybe governmental thinking, that these people should be changed, the behavior, like slum area, and then let's say like because of pandemic, COVID, the style has to be changed, so the design must be changed. What do you think about that? That's my simple question.
Yeah, I think it was a very interesting question. Can we engineer people?
Yes.
That we are trying to do. That what many governments are doing. You know, change people, change the way people look at things, change the way people live. I think it has to go through certain process. I think it is necessary. Sometimes it is necessary for us to change. I think, as I said, last 2 weeks, I was one of the forum panel member of a forum, Majlis Dakwah Negara. You know, they are asking a question on how can we use architecture to make da'wah. Then I think this is something that we have to really shape the way we think about Islam and da'wah. Oh, hang on. So as I said, this is the way we look at architecture. Not only the people, we want architect to understand how can we give dawah through architecture. Actually, in the forum there are panelists from all other categories of art, including performing art and so on and so forth. So so we cannot simply adopt this, and we have to learn. We have to study what is actually the context of da'wah in house, for example. I think there was one case. I think how can we implement? How can we make children stay at home? For example, this is one example. Though this is universal, but there is one article explaining on this. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it came from Latin America. There was a mother who has kids, and not only her, and many other mothers. And these mothers are very particular about maintaining cleanliness of the house. But he forgot that the cleanliness, actually, the way she managed cleanliness is too extreme. In the context of categories of needs, which I mentioned, that is belonging to what we call latent function, meaning that cleanliness or also decoration is very much part of the functional needs. Ladies are very common with this. You know, they want the house to be clean. They want the house to be perfect. But what happened actually, because of that, she did not allow the children to mess the room. The children live in the room. They have their own room. But because the mother are so conscious about cleanliness and also tidiness and also beauty, so the mother did not allow the children to mess in the house, to mess in the room. So what happened because of that? The children actually went out of the house most of the time and hang out. In Malaysia, we call it lepak. Vidya, I think you are aware of the term lepak, meaning that instead of staying at home, they are staying outside. So what I was trying to say is that we can engineer the house to be a place, a home for the children, to make children stay at home. This is the engineering that we must understand. It's by understanding a proper program. The mother, of course, she has to fulfill what she needs psychologically, but also she must understand the program, the education, the upbringing for the children. So therefore, she has to accommodate for both, meaning that she has to accommodate for her intention, for her preferences, but she has to accommodate for the teaching of the children, to make sure children stay at home. Otherwise, the children, what happened actually in the article, that is why many of the children are staying outside, lepak, stay outside, hang out outside, and then because of that, they are exposed to many negative things. Yeah. So that is one aspect of engineering. There are other aspects of social engineering which we can do through architecture. So in architecture, of course, we allow people to express themselves, but sometimes in educating people, we have to use architecture to make them to be more certain things that we want them to be. And also about other things, like, for example, Sharia compliance. This is in the context of what I said. There are studies now to make sure the design of the houses conform to the Sharia law. For example, visual privacy, aura. Visual privacy. How can we achieve this? Is by designing properly. So there are actually aspects of architecture that we can use to force people to be somebody, you know, to make, to create community that are conforming to the Sharia law and so on and so forth. Maybe I'm not answering your question directly, Vidya, but I hope that gives you some indication what I mean, that we can engineer we can form people to certain behavior that they may not like, but we have to do it because we want them to be somebody.
Okay.
I hope that answers your question.
If I can conclude your answer, I have 2 points from your explanation. First, about it needs time, so need more study, and the second one is related to the social engineering. So, is it true?
I call it social program. I call it program. You must have. You have the architecture. Architecture, it cannot make anything. It cannot influence people. But architecture through program, it makes a lot of influence. So the program is necessary. If you want to make, you want to alleviate poverty, for example, architecture can help you to do that. In Latin America, I think the work of I forgot the name of this.
Tanpati.
No, Tanpati. And I forgot. Self-help housing concept. So the self-help housing concept is actually a method of alleviate poverty. So they have their own, they build their own houses, but they learn how not only making their houses, but live in the community, sponsor themselves, survive using certain techniques, taught by the professionals. So this is actually areas that we can develop. The program is necessary. Architecture should help to meet the program, to meet the intention of the program. I hope that answers you, Vidya.
Thank you very much, Prof. Clear.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, clear ya, clear Miss Widya, I think.
Yes, thank you, Doctor.
Okay. So now, what about Prof. Ismail? So.
I think he unmute. I think he has to unmute.
Yeah, I think, please.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Students, I would like to read this. This is an excerpt of a speech by Larry Bakau during a commencement speech to the graduates in 2009 last year. Great Universities stands for truth. So we come to the institute to learn about truth, and the pursuit of truth demands perceptual effort. So perceptual means that we need to learn. Truth has to be discovered, revealed through arguments and experiment, tested on anvil of opposing explanation and ideas. Professor Mahmoud just now showed you some of the work of his student. That is part of the experiments, right? This is precisely the functions of great universities, where scholars in every field and discipline debate and marshal evidence in support of their theories as they strive to understand and explain the world. Yeah, as you see just now, Professor Mahmoud talking about the house for the poor, right? So we have to strive to understand the poor. They are our client. Of course, facts and truths are not the same. Yes, facts and truths are not the same. Facts are incontrovertible, or at least they should be, whereas truth has to be discovered, revealed from argument and experiments, tested on anvil of opposing explanation and ideas. This is precisely the function of great universities, where scholars debate and marshal evidence in support of the theories. Okay, and they strive to understand and explain our world, right? So there's one thing that I like to share this. This is a nice quote by him, that we need to teach our students to be quick to learn, but slow to judge. This now is a great happening now because of Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, WeChat, and so forth. We're quick to judge people. No, we need to slow to judge, but quick to understand. All right? So that's all on this part. Therefore, now I'd like to go to the quiz. Can Dr. Budi or Pak Sony put up the quiz?
Yes. So I think at the end of the talk later, Professor Ismail will give some quiz. So
A quiz.
Yeah, quiz, right? So he prepare some give as well. Okay, if you have any question, all the participants, please raise your hand. You can ask directly to our speaker today. Any question or comment? So maybe my colleagues, Madam Harlia Ranti, you want to ask some question, I think. Bu Ranti, you could ask some question to the Dr. Mahmud or Professor Ismail. Yes. Mr. Sony Pratomo, yeah, you can ask. So what about all the participants? Yeah. What about my student? So if you have any question, please ask the question right now. Yeah. Especially for the student that take some class about psychological architecture. Yeah. Ocha? Tiara? So, yeah, don't be shy, yeah?
Yeah.
I think from other university, the student from other university, from, I read it before, from ITB, from ITB, other university, yeah, you could ask. Or raise your hand. Yeah. Okay, Mr. Arya Permana, yeah, the professional architects, I think. Yeah. So I wait till 5 minutes. Okay, Professor Ismail, if you want to speak more, please.
Okay, that's all. But I like to start the quiz.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you post the quiz? I posted 2 quizzes just now. You just choose one.
Okay, the first one. Yeah. Okay.
All right. This quiz is for students only. So docents are not allowed to participate. This quiz only for students. All right. Okay, students. I hope that all students, not only from Universitas Adiwangsa Jambi, but also students that attending this program. I think it's about 100 of them here. So first question is, go ahead. First question. Pak, we need first question. Can you go to the first question? Yeah. So this is about Nobel Prize. Okay, acknowledgement of discovery. So the picture on the right is Alfred Nobel. So these are categories of Nobel Prize, 1 to 6. Which is not in the category and why? One of these, 1 to 6, is not a Nobel Prize. You will not get Nobel Prize from one of these disciplines. Why is that? Pick one. There's only one. Not in the group. Student? I posted this in Universitas Muhammadiyah Makassar, for which Professor Mahmud delivered it on the 8th of June, right? So many students couldn't answer it, but there's one student from India, he answered all 6 correct. We have 6 questions here. So student from Indonesia, please. At least you know them. To get the Nobel Prize is not easy. None from Malaysia.
Okay, Prof. There is some answer in the chat room. Social economic analysis. You can ask directly. Of this physical structure. This is the economic model of the future.
Elva, that's true. Mathematics.
So,
number 2. Number 2 is right, mathematics. But why? The reason is Alfred Nobel do not see mathematics as science. It sees it's like abstractions and philosophy. So he doesn't include it. Mathematics. Right. Okay, can I go to the next question, please? The host, next question.
Okay.
Okay. Discovery in physics. All right. So last year, 3% get the Nobel Prize in physics. What is the subject of the research and discovery? This is last year.
Mereka bisa
What
unmute
is the
sendiri.
subject? 1, 2, 3, 4. One of it is the answer. They shared this Nobel Prize to 3% shared this Nobel Prize in physics. 1, 2, 3, 4. Which one? Nope, wrong. Number 2 is right. Why is number 2? Okay, number 2 is right just now. Number 2. Who said number 2?
I think my student, Prof.
Yeah. Why is number 2?
Tiara, please ask. Please answer question.
How old is the universe? Okay. Let me answer that. Many scientists believe the universe is more than 13 billion years. But you may wonder how people calculated it. You remember that one thing that God gives to us, also gives to us, is able to think, able to learn. This is the ability that was given by Allah to us, not even to the angels. We can even calculate how long, how old is this universe. How you do it? It's a mix between physics and mathematics. Okay, next question is, please, next question. All right. Oh, okay. The Nobel Prize in Chemistry last year is awarded by to 3 persons. One of it is a Japanese. The other discoveries is used worldwide, and you are now using it. What is it? You are now using it. The hint. What is it? A, B, C, D. You are now using it. Wrong. D is wrong. D is wrong. D is wrong. Yeah, why C? Rahima Shada Azhar. Okay. Lithium battery is the battery that is in your phone. Lithium battery is the battery that give energy to satellites. Right. This is an important discovery by these 3 Nobel Prize winners. Yeah. 1 is good enough, 2 is Whittingham, and 3 is Yoshihiro. Okay, thank you. Next, please. Next, please. Okay. Okay, this is my last question. I'd like to ask everyone. So there are 2 questions here. You see on the left, 160 Nobel Prize won by Harvard, the highest in the world, number 1. Followed by 120 by University of Cambridge, which is in London, Cambridge, right? But on the right, there are 2 pictures here. One is the University of, which this university is in California. This university won 107 Nobel Prizes, yet it is just 152 years, whereas Harvard is almost 400 years. How can this university is in California? What is the name of this university? I have been to this university last December, sorry. Name of this university, guys? The one 152 years old, 107 Nobel Prize. And the other one is, this university produced many startups, including Intel, Yahoo, eBay, Google. It won 83 prizes, and yet it's still young, 134 years. It is the youngest among this group. Name this institution. So the one on the top is what's the name of the university? The one on the top is University of California, Berkeley. It's one of the top among, there are 10 campuses of University of California, Berkeley, University of California. One is in Berkeley. That is the one at the top. It won 107 Nobel Prizes, right? Then the one in below is Stanford. Berkeley and Stanford is not far from each other, quite close to each other. The one that won Nobel Prize is 83 prizes. It's a young university, 184 years old, and yet with that they're able to win that prize. Not Columbia. Columbia is New York. All right. You see, guys, that's the end of this. You see, why does you all do not answer it well? Why the one that I posted it 2 weeks ago, one student from India answered it all correct? Because you do not read. Yes, I repeat, you are lazy to read. So these are the things that we need to change. If you don't change it, you, at the end of the day, you will never stand from the crowd. You are among the crowd. So the employer will not pick you up to be their employee. That's it. So you have to read. We have to discover. We have to engage with others. We have to our ears to listen to others' views. Then we discover new ideas from them. All right. So do read. Then you need to write what you have written, what you have read. Then you have to share what you have written. Okay. Thank you guys for the time today, and I'd like to thank the host, Dr. Budi Alios Putra, and of course Pak Sony, who has been very friendly to us. Okay, thank you. Back to Pak Budi.
Okay, thank you, Professor Ismail. So I think we still have time. Dan, okay, if you have any question, again, yeah, please raise your hand. I think we have 5 or 10 minutes before closing this webinar. You can ask directly, you can unmute your microphone over there. Because in here, Professor,
Dr. Budi, can I ask a question?
Some architects join as well. Yeah? Okay, you can ask the question directly to Dr. Mahmud or Professor Ismail.
How many here are from architecture? The student. This is me, Dr. Budi. I'm asking how many of the participants here are from architecture school?
I think
all of them.
Yeah, I think 50. 55. Yeah, 50%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think they are shy to ask the question. I don't know.
Yeah, you can speak in whatever language. If you speak in Indonesia,
bahasa ya. If you have any question, no worries ya.
Yeah.
Okay, we still have 5 minutes before we close this session or this webinar.
Or maybe Dr. Budi, maybe I can ask them questions. If they don't ask me, I can ask them questions. If I were to teach you, I'm from Malaysia, teaching in Malaysian. I've been teaching architecture students since 1983, and some of you were not yet born into the world. The students I'm talking about. What would you think I should give a lecture on? If I were to give you the next lecture, what would you think an appropriate lecture content I should share with you if I were to teach, if I were to give lecture again? I'm asking the student, you want me to talk about what?
Okay, please, then.
Any student, you can, boleh cakap, boleh berbicara dalam bahasa Indonesia. Saya cuba fahami.
On the chat room, there's an answer, I think, Dr. Mahmud.
Yeah. I think with basic knowledge, you can teach about equilibrium because it is basic of architectural design. Okay, equilibrium. What is it actually about equilibrium? The person who wrote this, Said Maulana. Said Maulana, apa yang dimaksudkan dengan equilibrium? Is it about design? About composition? Or is it about articulation? I delivered a lecture on architectural articulation. How do you articulate? It is about composition. Ya, bisa pakai bahasa. Ya, boleh. Silakan Said Maulana. Physics education. Said Maulana is not architecture. He is in physics education. Equilibrium, I may or may not be able to answer your question because this is physics. I left physics long time ago. I'm not sure if I can answer you. Architecture in equilibrium. Equilibrium basically keseimbangan, isn't it? Balance, is it? Because we are dealing with architecture, we're dealing with composition, theory of design. Yeah, it is about balance. Yeah, balance is actually part of the theory of design that we teach students. Balance is not necessarily, exactly the same on both sides. Balance is very much interpretation and perception. Balance can be you have very heavy, kapas di sebelahnya yang sangat banyak dengan seketul batu can be considered as balance as well. But architecture is very much aesthetics. Okay, and aesthetic is very much based on perception. Balance is very much based on how people view the aesthetic qualities or aesthetic presence of the thing that we look at. I'm not sure whether this is answering your question because if you are expecting physics, I may not be able to make it justified for you.
Dr. Budi. Dr. Budi.
Yep.
I can give a short talk, but I think we can end with Professor Mahmood. Done with that, then you can retain some of your students. I give the short talk about Milky Way and bacteria. This may answer the question by one of the students from physics.
Okay. Okay.
So we can end up the talk by Professor Mahmood.
Can I just say something before leaving?
Yeah.
I'd like to thank Universitas Adiwangsa Jambi for inviting me, and I had a nice time. Hopefully we can have the same gathering physically, face to face, which will be more meaningful, more human. But I enjoyed the session. Hopefully I can learn how to speak Bahasa Indonesia so that I can deliver my speech in Bahasa Indonesia. But I don't have the time, I think. So therefore, students, you please improve your English. English now is very easy. You can learn English through the internet. Hopefully we can have a more meaningful and beneficial meeting in the future. Terima kasih pada semua yang menonton. Maafkan saya kalau ada salah dan silap. Terima kasih Pak Budi dan juga Pak Sony tadi. Terima kasih Prof. Ismail dan jumpa lagi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Can I leave now?
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Mahmood. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, Professor Ismail, please. Yeah.
I need to. This is the text, but also I need you to show the picture of the Milky Way. Pak Budi, you need to show the picture of the Milky Way.
Yep. Yeah, I do.
But where's the picture? Oh, all right. Okay, students. Students from architecture, students from physics, students from other disciplines. I took this from a Facebook. It was taken by a photographer in Sao Paulo. You see two images here, but both shows one in the sky, the Milky Way, and in the water, bioluminescent bacteria. So let us look at the Milky Way. All right. Okay, can I have the text, please?
Text. Okay.
All right. The Milky Way is 400 billion of stars. Yes, not million, billions of stars. And most of the stars are larger than our sun. But the Milky Way spins at a very high speed, 130 miles per second. Yes, per second. Its center is a huge hole, black hole. What is the purpose of this black hole in the middle of the Milky Way? Its gravitational force that holds the entire galaxy, including a tiny mini solar system. Here is the address of our Earth orbiting the Sun in the third orbit. Why does Allah put us in the third orbit? Here is the question. It spins 1,000 miles per hour. Yes. Yet among the billion of stars and their planet, only the Earth is found to be habitable. Why does Allah put only Earth is a place right for us to live? All right. Okay. Now that is where that is with living organism, plants, animals, bacteria, virus, and man. The knowledge of galaxy structure is elicited by man many decades ago. How? The Creator gives special ability to man, but not to the angels. What is it? Able to learn. Through learning, mankind acknowledges the mighty of this universe. Okay. Now, I like Pak Budi, Dr. Budi. Can you show the one of the videos? The video is called Andromeda. Can you show that videos? BBC News is only 4 minutes. Dr. Budi?
Yes, I try to.
I have given the link just now to you. You open that video. So students, let's watch this video.
Okay.
And listen carefully.
Okay.
This is about astronomy, cosmology. See, when we learn, we can learn across discipline, not only in architecture. We need to go across other disciplines. Dr. Budi, I already sent to you.
Okay. Okay. Wait.
The first one, King Andromeda. Student, I hope you'll be patient with this system because there's a little bit gap here. I hope one day I will go to your university and meet with you all. Okay, so listen everybody, this is short, less than 4 minutes. We need to start. Dr. Budi, we need to start from the beginning, yeah. We need volume. Somebody, we need volume.
Volume. Keluar nggak? Oh.
There's no sound here. Zero sound.
Nah, nih.
Okay.
Nih. Ada suara. Tidak. Enggak mau.
Storing there.
As we see bright planets, I can see Venus over there.
Start from the beginning.
From the beginning.
Ini kamu itu video dulu. Adik. Gampang. Itu video dulu.
All right. The sound system is not in our side now. It's okay. We make do what we have. Okay. Can I get back to my to my lecture, guys? All right. Yeah, the sound system is not to our side because of the poor internet connection. You see, the galaxy that's shown by that professor from University of Leeds, I think he's from University of Leeds, is the nearest galaxy to us. The nearest galaxy to us, which is called Andromeda Galaxy, right? Okay. It's a huge galaxy, almost the size of our galaxy Milky Way. It is composed of more than 400 billions of stars. Yes. However, from the telescope, it's a small dot in the sky because it is 2.5 million years from us. 2.5 million light years from us. All right? Meaning that it takes the light from Andromeda to reach our Earth 2.5 million years. That's long, very long, right? Million years. Meaning that the light that we see today has been coming out from Andromeda 2.5 million years ago. At that time, our Earth, there's no human yet. This is science. That's why the beauty of thinking. That's why you need to come to school. You need to learn. This is science. Okay? Can someone understand? Can everyone understand what I'm trying to say here? Can say yes or no? Kamu anak didik semua, kamu mengerti apa yang saya mau beritahu ini tentang Andromeda? Hello? Hello? Student understand about what I'm trying to deliver here? Yes, okay, thank you. All right. So, but I'm going to say one more thing here. About 1,000 years ago, there's a man who first discovered Andromeda. He called it the little cloud. He discovered it by looking at the stars without telescope. Without telescope. Because why? Telescope was invented 500 after he died. So he was studying the stars using just his naked eyes and his mind. And he wrote a book, mapped the location of stars in the sky into a book, and it's called The Landscape of the Fixed Stars. His name is Abdul Rahman Al-Sufi. He lived about 1,116 years ago. All right. I'd like to tell about him now so that you can be amazed by how brilliant is this guy, Abdul Rahman Al-Sufi. The Astronomical Society of the World and NASA recognize his contribution What is contribution? He identified Andromeda, which is the next galaxy to us. For your information, Andromeda and Milky Way are coming to each other, meaning that one time they will clash, right? Okay. So Abdurrahman As-Sufi recognized by the Astronomical Society and NASA. Therefore, they put one name in one of the crater in the moon by his name, but it's not called As-Sufi. The English called Az-Zofi. Az-Zofi. There is one kawah di bulan yang mana ada namanya Az-Zofi. Ya, gak ada nama Jokowi di atas bulan tu. Right? Yes. One more, I would like to tell that then in 2016, 4 years ago, they give an honor because they found a new mini planet in our solar system. This planet, in terms of numeric, is called 12621. But then they give the name Al-Sufi. So it goes to Abdurrahman Al-Sufi. So how great is the man? He's great. Why is he great? Because he studied the stars without telescope. How long years ago? 1,116 years ago. That is the man. Okay? So where are we now if we compare to him? This is the thing. We have telescope, we have lots of books, we have satellite, and yet we did not study enough on it. This is the man. Okay? Now, I'd like to show to you all another galaxy. This is a big galaxy which just discovered last year. Okay, now, Dr. Budi, can you go to the next slide, please? Next video, please.
Okay.
This one, it takes about 6 minutes. Dr. Budi, I think we have problem with the video. Never mind, if you have problem with video, I can cancel this. I think the system is not on our side.
Okay, wait.
Unmute. Oh, yang lain.
Okay.
Never mind. But I want to say that that new galaxy was discovered by Dr. Berçin. She is a Turkish scientist, studied at University of Arizona in Tucson. She's still there now, but she discovered a new galaxy. So NASA honored him and named the galaxy under his name, Berçin. But I want to tell her a bit of her story, how she difficult to become a great scientist. When she completed her bachelor degree at one university in Istanbul, she's the only female student in the class. But she stands tall. She stands tall. Yeah. She able to get a scholarship and study at University of Arizona, a PhD scholarship. But during the convocations, during the convocation, during the commencement that she got, she was wearing hijab, and hijab was pulled off on the stage by her professor. But then when she goes to America, she's able to discover new things. Yes. So these are the things that I hope you all students need to emulate people, study upon the struggle. All right. I have to cut short here, but once I get back to the system where we have a good system, I'll show you more. Okay, there are more things I'd like to share, but the system is not in our side. Okay, thank you, Dr. Budi.
Okay, Professor Ismail, I think time is finished, for this webinar for today. So before we end off this talk, so Professor, we have there's one Indonesian to be one to be your student, PhD student, yeah, under your supervision, I think. So,
thank you.
Yeah, the name is Ina from Jayabaya University. I think I can be as the second supervisor as well, I think. Yeah.
Thank you.
So she will contact you later.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. For all the participants, I think this meeting is very interesting. Yeah. In between Universitas Adiwangsa Jambi and University Teknologi Malaysia. So what we learned today, I think, architecture is not only about building space and others. So architecture actually it's about human as well. Yeah, we think about human being as well. So thank you very much for today, Professor Ismail and Dr. Mahmud. Yeah. I hope this kind of meeting or session will be continue later. So before that, I think we have to take some picture, right? So, Mr. Sony, yeah, okay. So please smile, yeah. So I'm gonna take your picture all together. Yeah, so please, yeah, Miss Mirta Siana, yeah, please open your video, yeah. I can see your face smiling, yeah. We can share this all over the world, yeah. Not only in Indonesia, not only in Malaysia, until my second country in Korea. Yeah. Okay, okay, screen, yeah. Ready? Okay, I think I will saya hitung ya until 3. Okay. Okay, ready? Okay, Hana, Dul, set, smile, ya. 1, 2, 3, smile, ya. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Geser sebelah. Ya, wait ya. Ya, the second page. Again, ya. Open your screen ya. Screen ada di situ. Oke, Hana, Dul, set, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oke, the last. Hana, Dul, set, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oke, I think it's done. Yeah, done ya. Take all. Oke, Profesor Ismail, terima kasih banyak atas waktunya, semua partisipan juga hari ini. Ya, kita mungkin dapat bertemu kembali di waktu dan sesi-sesi selanjutnya. Terima kasih University Teknologi Malaysia. Kami berharap kerjasama ini akan berlanjut sampai nanti. Terima kasih. Saya tutup pertemuan hari ini. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih Prof. Ismail.
Terima kasih.
Thank you. Nanti ada mahasiswa. Prof. Ismail sudah itu ya? Left. Ya kita lihat. Inilah bos.
Sertifikat nanti langsung di delivery ke.
Ini masih dihidupkan supaya anda bisa lihat di chat itu link.
Silakan
diisi untuk keperluan sertifikat.
Buat arsitek Rizaldi Roza ya, nanti sertifikatnya dikirim langsung ke rumah.
Nanti di grup akan diberikan Google Drive-nya. Silakan di-download.
Bisa untuk ya, sertifikat juga bisa untuk KUM buat para profesional arsitek ya yang ada dimanapun ya.
Nanti
saya mau hari ini menerima saya kan biasanya nggak arsitek Pak, jadi hari ini baru yang seperti jadi waktu itu paru-paru masih sama-sama.
Tapi ngaku tadi itu ini Pak bicara dulu ke galaksi hubungan dengan bakteri apa itu?
Ya dulu.
Disuruh gitu.
Jadi